Questions have hung in the air when discussing these two clubs' respective seasons. Wellington answered the cloud surrounding their coach's future, with Giancarlo Italiano extended for an extra season after taking the Knicks to within minutes of a first grand final last campaign. But for Brisbane, the confusion remains. Still a chance of claiming a first wooden spoon in club history. It's unknown whether Ruben Zadkovic will remain at the helm beyond this season. And with multiple players off contract, will there be another off-season of significant turnover? What it means for this afternoon, though, there are plenty of players with contracts to play for and points to prove. Matt Acton is walking through the tunnel, getting ready for his 50th A-League men's appearance. What a custodian he's been over 15 years, so often the second choice. He's finally racked up the half-century after time at Brisbane Roar and Melbourne Victory. This is 8th season with Brisbane. Melbourne Victory, 7 campaigns. Alex Rufer leading out his Wellington Phoenix side. This season will be so disappointed with how things have panned out. Lost a number of key players in the off-season, and injuries throughout the season have hurt their chances. But now with Giancarlo Italiano's future sorted beyond this season, they can start to plan ahead for next year and get themselves ready for the upcoming campaign, with this the penultimate match. We're going to pause now for the Anzac ceremony.
To Suncorp Stadium today for a very special Anzac Day ceremony. Please be upstanding for the mounting of the catafalque guard. The catafalque party is commanded by Lance Corporal Samantha Reid and consists of 4 sentries from the 7th Combat Signal Regiment, who will mount around the Australian and New Zealand national flags, representing a symbolic coffin for those that have paid the supreme sacrifice and fallen in war.
Party, rest on!
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd now like to welcome Warrant Officer Class 2 Timothy Self from the 7th Combat Signal Regiment, Gallipoli Barracks, to recite the ode. That'll be followed by the Australian musician Angus Cleaver, who will sound the last post, a minute's silence, and then RAS.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we'll remember them, lest we forget.
Catapult party, attention! Catapult party, present!
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthems of New Zealand and Australia. Both national anthems will be sung by musician Aisha Kingston Ball.
Catapult party, action! Catapult.
A moment to reflect and remember both in Australia and New Zealand. And let's have a look now at the team news. 3 changes for the Raw after their midweek draw with Adelaide. Henry Hoare and Ben Halloran come in on the flanks, replacing Jacob Brissett and Keegan Yelicich, who are benched. Anthony Burke-Gilroy takes the spot of Louis Zabala at left back, while Matt Acton in goals will play his 50th A-League match, while it's Ben Halloran's 50th A-League match for the Raw. For Wellington Phoenix, no changes for the Knicks after that 3-2 defeat at the hands of the Reds on Good Friday. Another goal for Barbarouses means he will join Paul Eiffel as Wellington's second highest goal scorer in A-League history. Hideki Ishige set up one of Barbarouses' goals last week against Adelaide, his 8th assist of the season. That's the 4th most in the competition. On the bench, Paolo Retre returns to the matchday squad after overcoming a quad complaint. Well, Abubakar has 4 goals in his last 6 matches. What a signing mid-season from Grasshoppers. He saved them from relegation in the Swiss Super League last campaign. Can he save Brisbane from their first wooden spoon in this current season of the A-League? And Costa Barbarouses returning to the scene of the 2011 A-League Grand Final where he played for Brisbane in that famous match where they won on penalties after Eric Pardalou's extra time equaliser. He also loves playing against Brisbane Roar. Only Melbourne City he's scored more goals against with 12. He's also scored 11 against Sydney FC. Ruben Zadkovic spoken about the togetherness and the heart of his team in recent weeks. Despite their predicament on the ladder, they are looking to make it 3 matches unbeaten for just the second time this season. And he comes up against Giancarlo Italiano, who, as I mentioned before, his future has become a little clearer. He's signed a 1-year extension with the option for a second until 2027. And he's keen to have some more finances available for next season to boost the squad over the off-season. 77th A-League men's match for Ben Abraham. First time he is taking charge of a match involving Brisbane Roar this season. Emma Kobeck and Andrew Lindsay, the assistants. Lockie Keever's the 4th official. And in the VAR booth this afternoon is Sam Kelly, assisted by Brad Wright. So we're almost set and ready to go here at Suncorp Stadium. Brisbane Roar looking to finish the season on a brighter note and move themselves away from the wooden spoon. While for Wellington Phoenix, if they do win their final 2 matches of the season and Newcastle don't pick up any points, they can avoid a trip to Darwin in May and the Australia Cup playoffs. Well, as the players get themselves warmed up, it's wonderful to bring in Eric Pardalou. Of course, I mentioned you there in the pre-match, Eric, that 2011 Grand Final. I know for Brisbane, we're a long way from that now, and it puts them in a real predicament, this situation right now. But the only thing they can do in the present is get the 3 points here and move away from a first wooden spoon.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Great to be calling this Anzac clash with you. Although it was yesterday Anzac Day, it's the game for Brisbane Roar and Wellington Phoenix to, go into battle themselves and try and get maximum points. Brisbane Roar, as you said, I can't believe you've even said that, Ben. Brisbane Roar in the same breath as an option for being the wooden spoon. That's pretty terrifying. But they've turned it around the last 4 or 5 games or so. Really, really impressed with the way they've handled themselves in the last 2 in particular. The last home game of the season for the Brisbane Roar, can they make it 3 points? But Wellington, as you said, Ben, they've got to try. Well, I'm not sure if they want to avoid the playoffs and extend their season, but you want to finish the season as strongly as you can. There's always something to play for.
Well, that's exactly right. Chatting to Giancarlo Italiano about a potential trip to Darwin in May, he said that's basically like a trip to Perth for us. It'll take just as long. So if they can avoid it, they would love to. But of course, as you said, they just want to finish off any match you go into as a professional footballer. You want to win.
And how many games have you got left? You never know in your playing career. You never know how many goals you're going to get. Costa Barbarousse is on fire again for the Phoenix, but he seems as though he's a bit of a lone wolf up there at times.
So we're set to go at Suncorp Stadium. The final match here this season. Can Brisbane Roar finish with a bang at home? It's been a disappointing season. So Brisbane looking to sign off with victory in the final match here at Suncorp. The Knicks, they are hunting a victory here for the first time since 2017. So lots to play for, and there's an early free kick here for the Roar.
Yeah, Bruce Roofer just getting stuck right in to this contest, and I've got to make reference to the surface. I think first and foremost, not the greatest of pitches to be playing in this afternoon, but I'm sure a lot of people won't be complaining. It's all about how they handle the conditions, both sets of players.
Well, Jay O'Shea, a long way out for him. He has scored from a free kick this season. He's floating it in towards Billity. He scored in his A-League career, and he hasn't gone any closer on that occasion. It will be a relieving goal kick for Wellington. Early days here. As I mentioned, Eric, it's been a long time since Wellington last won here. 2017 in February. Shane Smeltz and Roy Krishna scored in a 2-1 win. and their only other win here at Suncorp against Brisbane. They've only had 2 wins. It was actually a match back in 2015 where they were leading 2-1 in the 73rd minute. The match was called off at that moment due to a waterlogged pitch.
Wow.
So you could say only 1 win with a match that's gone the distance for Wellington. It's been a rough trip, this one, to Brisbane, but there's no better opportunity than this afternoon against a Raw side sitting second bottom. Halloran's delivery up towards Hoare, a player you expect to score many headed goals.
Yeah, it's somebody they've struggled this season. Ben, Brisbane Raw not scoring any headers, and they need that target, man. That's why I've been so impressed with Asuma Abubakar in the last couple of games. He's very versatile in that front three, but I'd love to see him go and engage in something a bit more aerially, trying to get himself a few more headers on target, being physical, that big number 9. There's Harrington again.
Wellington with some space through Barbarouses, looking for Ishige. So often it's been Ishige providing for Barbarouses. On this occasion it was almost the reverse, and it almost resulted in an early goal.
Oh, it was a really good look, that. Costa Barbarouses is so good at spinning in behind and asking a question early. What about the delivery in? The outside of the foot just bobbled a little bit too much for Ishige, and he couldn't make good enough contact with it. It's a good start for Wellington Phoenix. They look for those sorts of areas quickly and early in games, but they need to try and get there a bit more frequently.
O'Shea scoops it forward, looking for the run of Abubakar. What a signing. 4 goals in 6. Surprised as well. He didn't get much more of an opportunity with Grasshoppers this season in the Swiss Super League, considering he scored the goal which saved them from relegation at the back end of last year. But you never know, change of coaches and fortunes can turn on a dime, and all of a sudden you can go from being in favour to out of favour pretty rapidly.
And you've got to ask yourself the question, if he's just here till the end of the season for the Raw, it's been great, a great exercise for himself and for the club, but you've got to try and keep a hold of players like him and build around for whatever Brisbane Raw are looking at next season. He's a target man. He's a guy from the front that wants to lead from the front. And I'd love to see him stick around in orange.
Oluwayemi. Ishige brought it down, but did cross the sideline.
That's not a bad idea from Ishige. You can see what they're looking for, that pace of Costa Barbarouses. He knows Suncorp Stadium all too well.
Progression he's made this season. The 22-year-old, first season in the A-League, he scored 2 goals in his last 4. Would you believe he's the 2nd top goal scorer for Wellington this season? It tells you a lot about his season, but it also explains the challenges that they've faced in terms of trying to find multiple goal scorers outside of Costa Barbarouses, who has 10 goals. He's got 32 in his Wellington A-League career. Only Paul Eiffel with 33. And Roy Krishna sitting above him. Krishna with 51, so he's got to have to produce something special again next season, Costa, if he wants to pull back Roy Krishna.
That's going to be very difficult today to try and play out from the back, and we've seen Brisbane Raw continuing to try that avenue. Even in their last game at home on Tuesday night, they were looking to play, which is all good and well, but on this tricky surface tonight, they've got to navigate getting it away from someone like Costa Barbarouses. Look at him now looking to pounce and go in and step in and try and force that issue.
And we know this surface has had a lot of traffic on it of late, and it has been extremely wet in Brisbane across the summer. We know there's been a lot of rainfall, and it is making for a very challenging afternoon for both sets of players dealing with a bumpy pitch. Searching for Klein. Will be a throw here for Brisbane.
That was an avenue I noticed as well in the second half on Tuesday night, was Sam Klein getting forward a lot more for Brisbane Roar, just allowing O'Shea here to pick up the pieces. And, you know, he's got himself a couple of goals this year, Sammy Klein, from getting into the box, and he's got those attributes to get himself on the end of crosses, on the end of cutbacks. You know, it could be bit more of an attacking weapon for the Roar this afternoon.
He's really impressed since he came back into the side in January. He played 3 matches early days this season, Sam Klein, and then he didn't really cement a spot in the match day squad until early January. He played a match off the bench against Newcastle, almost could have scored 2 or 3 goals in that one. Impressed Ruben Zadkovic, and he's been a regular fixture for them since that moment. A bright spot for Brisbane in a tough season. Now it's Sutton driving it in, and Harrington doing enough, you would say. That could have really gone anywhere. It's going to be a corner here for the Knicks.
It was a great move from Mr. Versatile, Tim Payne, getting the ball all the way out there to the wing and just trying to get a cross in early. And we know that teams are vulnerable because they're not set in that area, but Harrington, he's had a really good season this year, clearing things, being available to defend.
Now Ashige, well, apparently the ball wasn't right on the corner. Obviously it's got to be overlapping the line there, and just trying to take a little too much off, and Ben Abraham just instructing him to take it further back. In the end, it didn't have a result, and Berenguer is going the other way for Brisbane. He may not have the legs of his younger days. Kelly Heald tracked him down, but the Frenchman, with his guile, earns the free kick.
It's a good foul from Kelly Heald. Brisbane Roar start early, but Berenguer had nobody in front of him to try and play it forward to. Halloran was making a good run as well.
Klein. Oh, Sam Klein, what a strike. Well, we were just singing his praises, and he very nearly delivered another goal this season.
Well, I'm not sure if Oluwayemi gets a touch on this, but it's an absolute ripper from distance. What a speculative, interesting shot there.
He's one for the future. He's one for right now, to be fair, for Brisbane. He's been one of their best since coming in January. And he's so unlucky. It's the inside of the post and away.
And just the confidence to do that. On a surface like this afternoon, that's exactly where you want to be trying to have a shot from.
And a wag of the finger from Ben Abraham saying that Halloran went down a little too easily.
Here's that shot again, and it just absolutely smashes the post. I'm not sure it would have beaten the goalkeeper, but that's a warning sign of what Sam Klein can do when he's in fine form.
And it is very hard sometimes to keep track of A-League contracts. You don't know whether they have been signed and not announced, but by my understanding, he's not signed beyond this season for Brisbane. I tell you what, if you're another A-League club, you'd be very interested after what he's been doing at the back end of this season.
But that also spells the difficulties at Brisbane Roar. If that is the case, how is he not being tied down?
Sunshine Coast product. Yep.
You've got to lock people like this down.
And there's a lot of players this afternoon in orange who aren't locked down beyond this season. O'Shea across to Halloran. Ran into a cul-de-sac. Now links with Klein. Hingett. Forming a nice combination in the midfield, Klein and O'Shea. Popping it back for Burke-Gilroy. Sutton did well to close down the passing channel for O'Shea, but just as it was the other night against Adelaide, it's Brisbane Roar who are doing a lot of the attacking in this one, asking all the questions early on. Possession. No statistics backing up this start from Brisbane, but there's been many matches where this has been the story for the Roar and they haven't been able to finish.
Yeah, just need somebody in the half turn here. Isbeth Haller in those sorts of pockets, and they've got the quality to get into zones and find passes and keep possession. It's all good and well, but against a very settled defensive line that Wellington Phoenix put up, you've got to find those entry points, and you've got to find them a little bit quicker.
So O'Shea, the delivery, the head of Sutton. Now it's Hoare on the volley, well blocked by Wellington Phoenix.
This from Wellington Phoenix, because there was not much on going forward. It was Costa Barbarousse just coming back, and he's the last man forward at most of the times for the Phoenix. So this little spell of possession just slows them down, allows them to reset. And that back three tonight, Benny. So you've got that width with your five, your left and your right fullback that should be on the halfway line.
Piper linking with Payne and Ishige. Now just to the Klein discussion, so he is on a scholarship deal until 27, but that's a scholarship deal, important to note. No full-time deal. So, yeah, it's intriguing.
If you're putting in performances like that, then the first question is, how is he not already on a first-team contract? And we're not talking about a monetary value, it's just about going and locking down a kid who's playing regular football week in, week out, who's scoring your goals, one of the main players in the team. It's baffling.
Ability, and that is the challenge of this surface. All the players, and on that occasion, Hossein Bility. O'Shea. Return from Abubakar. Would have been high up on the tip sheet this week for Wellington. Sheridan keeping a close eye on him. And Burke-Gilroy hanging it up towards Klein at that back post. Hingett. And O'Shea. Shaping that ball in towards Henry Hoare, who scored when these two sides last met in February. It was a 1-1 draw at Sky Stadium. Isaac Hughes scoring the opener. Henry Hoare, the equaliser for Brisbane. O'Shea. Just gave Ben Halloran a little too much work to do.
It was the right time to play it first time. Halloran made the run, possibly just the surface, playing tricks on O'Shea at the moment. But you can see the movement from Isuzu UTE when he goes out wide and gets the ball. Who's going through the middle to make that number 9 option? The cross came in, he was too late to get in there. You can see the attacking thirds there, a lot of play coming down the right-hand side. Halloran involved, Berenguer as well.
O'Shea hooks it up into the heavens. So penultimate round of the 20th season in the Isuzu UTE League. Brisbane sitting second bottom on the table. Wellington just one spot above them in this crucial clash at Suncorp Stadium. When it comes to how these two can finish the season, Abubakar looking for an opening, finds O'Shea. The pressure came from Barbarouses, but it was illegal pressure, according to Ben Abraham. And Costa is a little confused.
He came back really strongly, trying to get back to force the issue. Looked as though O'Shea was loading the gun, about to shoot. And it gives them a little chance now in front of the D to get a shot on target. The Brisbane Roar, they need something. They've been keeping possession and moving Wellington Phoenix around. Now it's about applying pressure at the goal.
So Oluwayemi has played the last 6 matches now since Albie Kelly healed. Suffered that shoulder injury, and he's made some decent saves in that time. He stares down O'Shea, who tests out the Wellington custodian. He was at full stretch. It was wide in the end, but he was seriously concerned.
Well, it's twice now Brisbane Roar have tested the Phoenix goalkeeper, but not got anything on target. There's those 4 shots a goal for Brisbane. And I think for the Knicks now, they just need to be a little bit more careful about getting the ball forward. This is a good idea from Oluwayemi, just to relieve that pressure a little bit.
Where Wellington can be so dangerous, where they are able to soak up pressure, strike on the break. Costa Barbarouses has made a habit of it at times this season, and despite no wins in their last couple, that most recent victory against Newcastle was built off the back of that, and the clinicalness from their striker. Sheridan and Ishiga pressured by Ability, and Hoare emerges with the ball.
And that's been the problem. Wellington Phoenix had a free kick or a set piece in the other half there and decided to go back towards goal when they could have gone forward. The whole season has been played in their own half, pretty much. You can see how many touches in the opponent's half. It was hardly anything for Wellington and everything for the Brisbane Roar. They've not troubled goalkeepers and back fours enough this year. There you go, final third entries.
And you look statistically, defensively, Wellington have been pretty solid. 6th best defence. This is where they're dangerous though. Barbarouses on the break, looking for a teammate. Decent delivery, but it was well cut out by Harrington as he went with the outside of the boot, searching for Kelly Heald. But yeah, if you look defensively, they're in the top half of the league, but it's been in front of goal. 2nd worst attack, 27 goals in 24 matches. I feel like that's the significant difference between this year and last year. They were scoring those chances, and that hasn't been the case a year on.
Yeah, just to add to that, Benny, taken the least amount of shots this year, created the least amount of big chances.
Floating it wide, and that's comfortable for Acton.
But they had the best big chance conversion, but that's mainly down to having a player like Costa Barbarousse. They had the least amount of crosses. They faced the most shots in the league, and they fouled the least. For a team that wants to win something, it's very difficult to go out there and be nice and allow teams to shoot at you and you not to shoot enough. That's been the story of their season.
And Acton, ability to find some space between a couple of members of the Knicks press in Barbarousse and Payne. And now it allows Brisbane to push up down this right edge, this favoured right flank. Hingard and Halloran's edge. And there's an important toe in from Piper, but the pressure again here from Brisbane.
Yeah, it's good play, a good forward run from Klein, from midfield to the byline, and they force themselves that corner. Wellington will do well now just to try and see this one away. It's Hingard on the ball, stepping forward, going forward, being positive, get his head up, playing a nice pass along the ground, tricky surface, and they get themselves a corner.
Well, once again, Eric, we'll remind everyone, no headed goals for Brisbane this season. Surely it's got to end at some point. That was a volley from Klein, and did it come off a Wellington player? No. It was out last off the 21-year-old from the sunny coast, and it will be a Wellington goal kick. Night of action to come here on Paramount Plus. Also on 10 Bold, Newcastle Jets and Western Sydney Wanderers. Apparently the away bay there in Newcastle is sold out. Wanderers are taking a massive contingent of fans up the motorway, so you don't want to miss that one. And then Melbourne City and Adelaide United. Can Adelaide put some pressure on Sydney in the race for the top six? And Melbourne City chasing down second spot if they can claim second spot behind Auckland. Of course, they're still in the premiership race, but let's be honest, Auckland, they only need a point tomorrow against Perth to claim it. But Melbourne City will have their sights set on second place and a spot in the Champions League Elite next season. Because of course, Auckland cannot qualify for that competition. Barbarousse bearing down on goal. Closed off by Klein. Away by Halloran, and that's because Auckland are part of the OFC Confederation, so to Wellington. So being from New Zealand, they cannot qualify for an AFC Champions League competition. Can get a little bit confusing, but that's to try to put it as simply as possible.
It'd be so good to see them in that competition, though, the way that they've played this season. And it was something we were talking about before the game, Benny, about possibly the mentality of Wellington Phoenix and how it's probably been a little bit diluted because of the performance from their noisy neighbours this year. And I think psychologically it's got to have had some sort of impact, surely.
Yeah, it's a fascinating point as we see this free kick for Brisbane. Had to play Auckland twice in the opening 6 rounds. I did ask Giancarlo Italiano. I've spoken to him a couple of times this season about that, and of course he doesn't want to make excuses, but it's something that they haven't had to deal with before, these Wellington players. They haven't had to deal with the emotional the emotional high or low of a derby and just what it takes physically and mentally, and they got that twice in the opening 6 weeks when otherwise they'd started the season. You take those Auckland matches out, they were undefeated.
Just seeing the foul coming in here. Halloran, his Piper going right through the back. But you're right, if you look at the 3 games, after the first defeat to Auckland, they bounced back the next game by getting a win. The second time they lost 2 in a row. The third time, they lost 2 and drew 2 before they got a win. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to think, you know, that psychological damage was there. It was surely there.
Some defensive work here for the Knicks to do. Having to roll up their sleeves. So far, Harrington was rising. Very nearly got contact. It's been another bright spot for Brisbane this season. Ruben Zadkovic really pumped up his ties in the pre-season, saying he's got the highest ceiling of any young defender in the country. And he's racked up the match time. 16th appearance, 14 starts for Brisbane. How about that from O'Shea? Off balance, outside of the boot, in front of Henry Hoare. Klein. And Halloran urged to shoot Ben Halloran. Thought about it for a moment. Hingett. And Halloran, up goes Hoare. And couldn't direct it on goal.
That's the second time Henry Hoare's made that run into the middle of the box, because Abubakar has stepped out of that position. And perhaps he's just trying to look for that ball out wide to get on it, but somebody needs to be there. Central's good play from Brisbane Roar.
And just to finish off, Eric, that discussion around Wellington Phoenix, you can see both sides only get a shot on target thus far. The matches where Wellington have struggled, and this is from statistics. I know you love your statistics. When they've averaged 6 injuries a game or higher, they have struggled to pick up points. And when that injury statistic has been around 2.5 injuries in the squad, that's when they've performed best this season. And that is from the data that Giancarlo Italiano was having a chat to me about during the week, which makes sense, doesn't it? And it has been an issue for them this year. And so often when sides struggle, Barbarouses deciding to go from distance.
Yeah, it's very in-depth, that many. But good to see Barbarouses just opening himself up and having a shot at goal, trying to ask Matty Acton a question or two. That's been the theme, I think, for Wellington Phoenix this year, is not being able to have, it's the quantity of chances. If they're looking for that quality 1 or 2, and then trying to sit back and soak pressure. I think there needs to be a huge rethink for next year. If Wellington are going to get that top 6 and challenge someone like Auckland FC, they've got to rejig this 11. They've got to get some players around Costa Barbarouses. They need players feeding him or feeding somebody else to try and score more goals.
Gets head up. Aerial head tennis at the moment. Now it's Hughes. Barbarouses was dancing around looking to pick up possession. No shot. Klein, hammer an angle, finding Hingett. O'Shea, nice footwork. Kilroy, he was urged to shoot. Was there contact? There was. It took a while for Ben Abraham to blow his whistle, but he did so eventually, and this is a great position for Brisbane.
Ishige just giving away that foul on the edge of the box. It was the Dubliner dancing him all the way across there. Jay O'Shea keeping it alive and then just playing one across to Bert Gilroy. And it looks as though Ishige slipped there. Couldn't slow himself down, but this distance is almost as good as a penalty. If you can get it on target, the goalkeeper's in trouble.
And you can look here at the wall that's being set up. How many players? Count them, 5 at least, maybe more. know Jay O'Shea has got a wand.
And sometimes the goalkeeper would prefer somebody to drop into a corner at the last moment, but I think you've got to go for power here. Getting it up and down looks very difficult.
So the 36-year-old, the captain, Jay O'Shea, he sends Abubakar forward. He says, I'll take care of this. O'Shea, and it stung the palms of Oluwayemi. Really sharp save to his left. So it's a shot on target for Brisbane. But it doesn't breach the Wellington goal. Ball versus Payne, who's keeping a very, very close eye on him. O'Shea will go again. That time a little too high.
It's good to see him get on the ball, though. O'Shea seems to be the most dangerous player at the moment, because it was a palm stinger. Oluwayemi had to get there. He had to save that one. It was right in front of him. It was the only place he could have put it, over the Brisbane Roar players just ducking under it. That was a good technique.
Well, I was just wondering, Eric, if you see two Brisbane Roar players like that standing next to each other, are you thinking, well, that's probably where it's going, and maybe put someone behind them?
Yeah, it is pretty obvious, but I think in terms of, you know, the goalkeeper sighting the ball, it comes in a little bit later. So Brisbane should have had another player come across that one before O'Shea hit it, just to put him off even more.
Well, if you've just tuned in and you've watched these sides throughout the majority of the season, but you've missed the start to this one, well, you probably won't be surprised. It's a similar story. Brisbane Roar, lots of possession, creating chances, unable to make it count on the scoreboard. And Wellington, while they have had their chances on the break, they have been few and far between. As we know, they are very efficient at converting what opportunities they are presented. Brisbane do not want to open the door for them at all. Now Sutton goes rolling to the floor.
And it's something they need to make more use of, I think. When you're playing this system with three at the back, it gives you a lot more width further up in your midfield, and it's rare that balls are going into these sorts of areas, going and pinning back the fullbacks for Brisbane Roar. It seems as though the only option they're looking for...
Oh, Ashige, real pressure on Billeton. He turns and he points at the pitch.
Yeah, but it's the first time they've actually put the ball in that sort of area. Wellington Phoenix, go and put it in there a bit more and ask a few more questions.
O'Shea turns himself out of a tight area. Just ran away from Berenguer. Piper's taken a bit of turf with him as well, as he tried to nudge that one around the corner.
It hasn't played too poorly, to be fair. The players have actually dealt with this surface, and that's what it comes down to as a professional. You've got to adapt to every surface. Every game's different.
Well, it makes you better as a player, doesn't it? Able to adapt to different conditions. You can make excuses, or you can deal with it and improve yourself, I'm sure. That's the way you're looking at it. Hughes just took a touch on the way through off Kelly Heald as he tried to rein it in. Can they try and pin Brisbane in here? Plenty of space here. Wellington happy to drop back and allow Brisbane the space in midfield.
Yeah, they're dropping very early, Wellington Phoenix, to get to that back five. And that's why Berenguer is able to get that ball in that space. Jay O'Shea is getting on the ball. And it looks as though Brisbane are very calm in possession, but I'd love to see Wellington Phoenix go and pressurise their backline a little bit more. Just go and step up a little bit. Go and help out Costa in that situation and add an extra man.
O'Shea. Now Payne. Heavy touch from Sheridan. Hughes able to ride some challenges. So Hughes, who's playing in that back three, has made a forward run here. Now he's going to drop back and try and put the pressure on O'Shea. Wellington not keen to use him despite the fact that he was pushing forward. Klein declining the offers from the active support to have a shot, and Billity's header, I should say Abubakar's header, is going to bring a corner kick because it's come off a Wellington player on the way here, off Tim Payne.
Yeah, it's a good ball in from Haller, and that's what you want. You want to see Abubakar getting across the near post where he should be more often than not. Can he get himself into a scoring position again? It could be the link, the missing link that they've not had all season. Scoring from headers.
So the home fans finding their voice here. Can Henry Hoare find a Brisbane head? Just above Abubakar. And there was contact on Sheridan, it would seem, in the box, and free kick goes the way of the Knicks.
It's a really good call from the referee, and very difficult from Brisbane Roar to score from those areas with an outswinger. And you know, we talk about distances and inches, and possibly just a thinking in that direction by whipping it onto the goalkeeper. Maybe poses more of an issue for Oluwayemi.
Kelly Hill did well to keep it in and just came on the blind side there of Hingett. And he's gone in a little too recklessly on Harrington.
And these are the sorts of areas we talk about a young defender doing well. It's with a poor back pass that he goes and helps out Jake Hingett. It's reading the play, it's reading when to go down with contact to allow your team to get up. You don't often see a youngster with a head on the shoulders like that.
Still just 17 years of age. Taringa Rovers Jr. Brother Diesel, of course, at Central Coast Mariners. So a talented family. Will he be at Brisbane beyond this season? That is the big question. Apparently there's been some offers that have come in from overseas. We've heard from Ruben Zadkovic. Barusas is onside for the moment. And flag does come up for offside. Did look to be offside from the naked eye, but of course the assistant referees asked to keep their flags down in case there is a goal. The result.
Well, the lines people today have got some lines to look along on the pitch. A little bit easier today to spot it.
Final 5 minutes of regulation time before halftime. Is there a sting in the tail from either team right before halftime? Here is Tim Payne, Mr. Versatility himself. Still going, Tim Payne, and he tried to do it all himself. He had Barbarousis on the outside, and Costa is not gesticulating, silently cursing. Oh, look at Abubakar. He's pulling out all the tricks. Finding Beronget. He's got Abubakar in the middle. There's a corner on the way. He's lighting it up here at the back end of the season, isn't he? Asuma Abubakar.
It's what you want to see. A little flair and also to keep going forward and continuing on with that move, laying it off to his teammate and then just sprinting inside the box. That was the time to try and unlock Wellington Phoenix.
Gilroy, time to measure the cross. Gee, he had so much time there, so much time to find the target, and it's a wasted moment for the Raw.
You can tell the confidence is not there for just whipping corners in and trying to attack it with the big boys and trying to score with their head. They're going short, looking for another angle to get it into the box, but you've got to go and pressure the keeper.
Is he your favourite player, Eric? Asuma Abubakar?
Yeah, confirmed.
How good's he been? In the last 6 matches, I should say, 4 goals. It's been a really impressive finish to the season. Barbarouses peeling out left, and the door was firmly shut by Harrington.
Absolutely brilliant once again from the young man. Didn't need a second invitation to have a little crack at Costa Barbarouses. Bad first touch there on the surface. It's a good tackle.
They're coming up against a man more than double his age. Barbarouses 35, Harrington 17. Ooh, this is a little bit of a mix-up from Brisbane. They get away with it thanks to Berenguer. Pushes that pass. 3 Brisbane players in the vicinity, straight through them all. Wellington gifted back. Pressure, earning the mistake from Klein.
Yeah, it's really good defending there from Piper, going in and getting physical and forcing Brisbane Roar into a mistake. And, you know, heading to this half-time break, I'm not sure which coach will be the happier. Again, both sides not creating a lot, not taking enough digs at goal. It's been a similar story all season long for both sides, so not much will change if they don't change the way they play.
Henry Hoare. Shike went over off the field. He's back up now. This is Halloran. Now Abubakar, well blocked by Wooten. He did very well there, Scott Wooten, to ensure that Abubakar didn't test out Oluwayemi, because it would have been challenging. This is a bobbly surface. Strike with power along the ground. With some real difficulty. Now it's O'Shea. His strike also not leaving the tarmac. And now Barbarouses is too eager. Coming in the back of Hingett.
2 experienced pros going at it. Jack Hingett just puts his body across smartly, because Costa's having to do a lot of work to come back and try and help out defensively. You can see it's part of the process and part of the plan, but it's a long distance for him to come and close down and then to slow down. He's having a big problem doing that tonight.
So just the 1 minute of additional time, and it's O'Shea's delivery. Klein's header! Oh, the drought was almost over. And he's been one of the bright spots this afternoon. Sam Klein, he hit the post earlier and almost scored there.
Oluwayemi, have to say, the busier of the 2 goalkeepers. And he's gracious to keep that one in his hands, really.
How about this for a throw? Oh. Thrown him off his feet as well. Josh Oluwayemi, but it's coming back with some height. Harrington ploughs through. Up goes Hoare. Now Abubakar. Big opportunity this. Tough angle though. The ball just wouldn't sit for him. And that is half-time here at Suncorp Stadium. And it's been a similar story for both of these two sides. Wellington Phoenix on the counter-attack, creating some chances of their own, but it's been Wellington who just haven't been able to stem Brisbane's domination of possession. The Raw, though, haven't been able to make it count on the scoreboard. Half-time, it's the Raw 0, Wellington Phoenix 0. And we have the half-time show on the way right after this.
Rampant Westerns.
Sees Pearman, it's a clean run and goal! Pearman having the night of his life, and Perth Glory are 4-1 up. Shash couldn't reach it, this could be game over. Estrada squares it up, and Guillermo Mai will surely seal the 3 points for Auckland. Is it a premiership winning goal?
Welcome to the Hungry Jacks halftime show. Do not forget tomorrow, what a huge match. Can Auckland seal the Premiers Plate in their first season in the Isuzu UTE A-League? What a story, what a ride it has been for the Black Knights. You can find out tomorrow, 2:30 on Paramount Plus when they take on Perth. Now, Eric Pardelou, we're going to have a look at the Harvey Norman highlights of a first half, which was a little scrappy, a little scruffy, and probably a similar story for these two sides this campaign.
Yeah, I think Wellington Phoenix score that one, then they go on to really dominate the game, but Brisbane Roar had the best of the chances. Klein with this early shot that really beat the goalkeeper, just had to hit the post and come back into traffic. O'Shea got really close at testing Oluwayemi as well, not once but twice. And Brisbane, you have to say, with all their possession, at least hit the target a couple of times. That one from Sammy Klein there, they need to do that a bit more often and find him inside the box. He is a bit dangerous.
Eric, stats tell you the story of a Brisbane side who have created a lot of chances, but the key statistic up the top is indicative of a team who has the 10th best attack this season.
Yeah, the surface is not helping either side, but you have to give credit to Brisbane Roar, the way that they're trying to find Abubakar, get him into those shooting positions. They had one right at the end there, if you remember, volleying over, but just 2 shots on target. And of course, the Phoenix are just hoping for that counter-attacking option. Nothing on target for the away side again.
Well, one bright moment for the Brisbane Roar involves the man who is currently sitting up the top of the Paramount Plus Players Index, and that is their defender, Lucas Harrington, and he has really impressed. You can see he's 4th there. O'Shea leading the way, but we're going to keep a close eye on Harrington because we really feel like he's been one of the shining lights for Brisbane this season, Eric. And again in the first half, he's up against an experienced player in Barbarousas.
It's all about timing. It's about getting your head up when you've got the ball, just doing your job and not doing anything else differently. Going out and closing little loose balls down, holding off players like Costa Barbarousas, and timing, getting yourself in there for those crosses and just sort of angling the body in the correct way. He's got a bit to grow and obviously to fill out, but the way that he's played this year, everybody must be looking at this kid.
Yeah, just 17 years of age, Lucas Harrington. What a young talent he is. Now, all matches at this stage of the season in the Isuzu UTE A-League have ramifications, whether it be for the top 6 for the Australia Cup playoffs. That was no different last night, Eric, at Campbelltown Stadium. Melbourne Victory able to secure their spot in the finals and end MacArthur's in one breath.
Yeah, the way they started that game was unbelievable from Ryan Teague, and that pass from Arzani, a bit of razzle-dazzle from Mashash, and it was Boss at the far post. But they asked a lot of questions, Melbourne Victory, and they got themselves into the final third, something that MacArthur were sort of unable to do. This one was just a hit and hope up the park, which resulted in them having a bit of a lifeline. Economidis against his old side, just slotting it in the bottom corner. That was a really good goal. And they thought there that was a little bit of an opportunity to come back, but Melbourne Victory just too strong.
It's a bit jarring looking at that football pitch, Eric. Is that what a football pitch is? Yes, we feel for you Brisbane and Wellington players. It's a tough one to play on this afternoon. Well, coming up straight after this one, we are heading to Newcastle. It is Western Sydney Wanderers in fine form up against the Jets, their final home game of the season. And with a preview, it's over to Daniel Garvin, Daniel McBreen.
Yeah, thank you. We're in Jets territory. We're in front of their dugout, Daniel McBreen. But let's be honest, so much of today is about Western Sydney. 10 games undefeated. The Jets are out of the finals race. Western Sydney can move up to third. They're bringing a massive supporter base with them today. 2.5 bays will be sold out. So it'll virtually feel like a home game for a team that is on a wave that they are riding with a whole lot of gusto in terms of momentum through to the finals. What struck you about their form that's so impressive at the moment?
Well, I guess the spearhead of that has been Nicholas Milanovic and his form. 12 goals, 6 assists. He's been the guy that's really thrown them forward, but he hasn't been on his own. He's been the leader in that respect, but he's got Sapsford, he's got Barello, he's got lots of players who are joining in, and he's been fantastic. Plenty of talk about him going overseas maybe at the end of this season, but they've got that Champions League spot, Western Sydney, that they're still looking to try and grab in second spot. So plenty to play for, and if he is going overseas, he'll want to leave a mark before he goes.
Yeah, the news is that he's off to Scotland like so many Australians recently, and perhaps Aberdeen. We'll wait and see if that comes to fruition, but it's always a nice feeling coming to the football to watch a man in top form. Nicholas Milanovic is certainly in that ilk at the moment. We're looking forward to this one. The Newcastle Jets up against a rampant Western Sydney. 4:30 p.m. The coverage starts on 10 Bold.
Thank you, Garvey, and thank you to Daniel McBreen, so don't miss that one. 4:30 The pre-match show begins kickoff from 5 on 10 Bold and Paramount, plus the Jets and the Wanderers. Sure to be a wonderful atmosphere. And don't forget, straight after that one, we have got football tonight, and then a huge match between Adelaide and Melbourne City. Eric, just want to get your thoughts. Halftime conversations are occurring, and we're going to actually, we'll get to that after the break, because I just want to point you to Tamika Yallop, who's the special guest on Football Tonight, which is presented by Ninja. That is coming up straight after the Newcastle Jets and Western Sydney Wanderers clash. And then it'll be Melbourne City and Adelaide United, and that is a crucial match in the makeup of the 6. Can Adelaide United put some pressure on Sydney? Or will the Sky Blues be celebrating after City get a result against the Reds? It's a big night of football here on Paramount Plus.
Here's Tilio again. It's a great first touch. Tilio scores. Marco Tilio strikes again. Brilliant piece of individual skill.
And it comes for Paris, and in off Archie Goodwin. Archie Goodwin pounces for his 13th goal of the season. He leads the Golden Boot race.
Welcome back to Suncorp Stadium, the final match of the A-League at this venue in season 20. It has had some famous moments down the years, but unfortunately for Brisbane, it hasn't been their year. But they can finish on a high in their final home game. What do you feel like the message was at half-time, Eric Partaloo, from Ruben Zadkovic?
Yeah, just more of the same, I think, Benny. I think in terms of what they've been producing, getting chances, they've just got to continue feeding that ball out wide, but a little bit quicker, and asking, Asuma Abubakar to be in the middle going at goal a little bit more. They do have the likes of Jacob Brissett and Keegan Jelicic on the bench, who I think will see action at some point. I really like watching Brissett play this season, but for Wellington, they are just holding on. It seems, again, looking for that one opportunity over the top to try and get something through. Costa Barbarouses.
Yeah, well, Giancarlo Italiano knows if they get that chance, more often than not, they will take it. Can they create something in this second half? We are underway. Final 45 minutes in the penultimate round of season 20 in the A-League. Brisbane Roar looking to make it 3 matches unbeaten for just the second time this year, and Halloran gets a little nudge off balance and earns a free kick on what is a milestone match of sorts for him, his 50th A-League match for Brisbane.
Oh, there's a bit of a shoulder-to-shoulder there, but Piper's been getting stuck in tonight, or this afternoon I should say. Benny Halloran, good early run forward, purposeful. That's what they need, a little bit more from their winger.
Oluwayami's been good when he's been called upon. Free kick was dipping towards Abubakar. It bounces up. It's Abubakar who brings it down in front of Barbarouses. O'Shea gives this some hang time and has to be headed over the byline by Piper.
They shouldn't have let that one bounce, Wellington Phoenix. I think it was Sam Sutton letting that one bounce, and Costa Barbarouses coming back towards his own goal to try and clear it off. Gives Brisbane another chance here to swing this one in.
Well, it was the 61st minute where the opening goal was scored when these two sides met in February. Moore's delivery up towards Abubakar, but Oluwayemi rising highest. We've already seen this season that these two sides can cancel each other out. One or draw in February. And it has happened again so far this afternoon. But surely, Eric, surely at this back end of the season, we see another Oluwayemi throw. He's got that up over halfway again.
He must have a problem with his quad or his hamstring. He's not kicking from there and he's deciding to throw, unless it's the surface that the ball will skid off and go a bit too far. But I've never seen a goalkeeper take more than one throw like that to the halfway line in a row.
And a throw that's literally thrust him to the floor on 2 occasions. So it certainly is interesting. Either that or he wants a gig at the next Olympic Games as a javelin thrower. All Rufer, that was challenging on the surface, presents an opportunity for Henry Hoare. Loves these situations, and Oluwayemi to the rescue again for Wellington. Oh, this time Rufer may have gone away with one. Now, that's a conversation with a teammate.
It's just about playing out from that distance and playing a pass in the middle of the goal with somebody facing the wrong way. And it was Hoare just getting a shot on target. Possibly, if he had gone across the goalkeeper, we might have been having a different conversation there.
I just wonder as well, that part of the pitch where Rufer took that heavy-ish touch is like a quagmire. It's probably the biggest quagmire on the pitch. I wonder whether he's had a conversation with his backline just to say, if we're in this area of the pitch, don't play a pass.
And nor should they be looking to play through the middle in the way that Brisbane Roar are pressing with their numbers forward. That's a good opportunity for the home side, though, to get in and have a shot from there.
It's sort of that area of the pitch where Wooten is literally right now. You can see there's a lot of mud. And it's like getting your ice skates on to try and work your way through there. Abubakar, more sure-footed than most, and he still was struggling with it.
But he never seems to lose the ball. That's why I've been really impressed with him. And he comes and looks short, or he's holding the ball up under traffic. He doesn't give the ball away. He finds a teammate, he steps forward, he's trying to be positive with the football. It's good to see.
Got some great pedigree. Isuma Abubakar, time in the Eredivisie, and has come from the Swiss Super League. We're match time limited in this current campaign, but still training at a high level.
Just that pass going in there. I don't think you need to make a 5-yard pass to somebody with somebody close to them. And that's what Roof is saying to Piper. That was a silly pass to be playing there. Didn't need to happen.
So it's O'Shea over the dead ball. Boubacar, ability. Klein, a good target. Ability coming through. And a strike from distance. Boubacar turning, well blocked by Payne. And this has been a real hallmark of Wellington defensively over the last couple of seasons. Their ability to block strikes on goal. And they've done so again in this match. And in a key moment there. And Halloran. That's just come undone for Brisbane.
Yeah, that's a bit ugly there. You want to be trying to throw the ball in a direction that gives Wellington Phoenix a problem, not give yourself a problem. And Halloran had nowhere to move with the football there.
Now it'll be another Brisbane throw. Sutton unable to keep it inside. We spoke about Wellington defensively this season, 6th best in the competition. It's been pretty solid when you compare that to where they are sitting on the table in 11th, but they're going to have to undergo some kind of a rejig next season because we know Sutton and Wooten leaving the club in the off-season, 2 pillars of that back 5 or 3, whichever way you want to look at it, but Sutton has been a key member there. Ingot up towards Hoare, and O'Shea on the volley.
You can see some of their defensive attributes are still hanging around from last campaign. They lost the least amount of games in the season, just the 4, and conceded the least amount of goals.
So that's the situation at the moment on the live ladder. So a win here for Brisbane takes them up to 18. It doesn't ensure that they avoid the wooden spoon, but it would keep it in their destiny. And Perth Glory, they have to play Auckland tomorrow, and then they face Wellington next week. So 2 matches in New Zealand to finish off the year for David Drilich's team. You would think tomorrow is going to be a tough ask for Perth, trying to get a result. Well, stranger things have happened.
Oh, you never know. Oh, look, I think even if they go and lose the last 2, it's pretty much confirmed anyway.
Yeah, so there's so much to play for it when you consider those bottom 4 as well these days. Australia Cup playoffs. Oh, Sheridan has it taken off him, and then the pass from Boubacar. He couldn't find Berenguer, who had time and space there at the top of the 18-yard box.
Just at the moment you want him to be a bit more selfish. He tries to find a teammate there. It was the wrong option.
Billy Heel. Barbarousis. And the pass just didn't have enough weight for Tim Payne. It was the right idea. And here goes Burke Gilroy. He's just gliding across this surface. O'Shea. Klein with space. He won't take a second moment there, Sam Klein. He was always going to think about shooting after what he produced in the first half.
So much better from Brisbane. Maybe the reverse pass was on into the feet of Asuma Abubakar, always looking for the option of playing through the middle, but that was swift from the Raw. They need to do more of that, because once Wellington Phoenix set themselves in that defensive line, very difficult to break it down.
a great win in the air. So too from Ashigan. Barbarouses was offside. But it's those kind of neat little moments from Wellington where all of a sudden, from a moment which doesn't look to be brewing up to anything of danger, Barbarouses can just poke out the other side and be one-on-one with the goalkeeper.
He's had 20 shots on target this season, scored 10 goals. It just shows you the level of the finishing we still expect from Costa Barbarouses. It's going to be like that if they get him in front of goal. Very good in front and one-on-one with the goalkeeper.
So Wellington's second highest goal scorer all time. That's including the Australia Cup and the A-League, 34. Still sitting third when it comes to the A-League, though, one behind Paul Eiffel. Sheridan trying to angle that into the path of Kelly Hield or Sheridan. And Matt Acton has some work to do for a rare moment this afternoon.
Could be the night or the afternoon for a clean sheet for Matt Acton. It's been a while. No better time to get it. 50th A-League game today.
He's got 5 in 49 previous A-League men's appearances. Berenguer, poor. Eventually brought it back under his control. It's those kind of situations there that Henry Hall loves. One-on-one with a defender just on that angle, on the edge of the box.
Yeah, somewhere where Jacob Brissett's been doing really well, though, on that left-hand side. Just wonder how long it'll be before we see him come into the pitch and really go a little bit more direct and a bit quicker as well, has to be said. Brissett.
Well, surely it's got to be sooner rather than later, wouldn't you think? Surely. Now, clean sheet, the last Brisbane Roar clean sheet, Eric. 20th of April, 2024. 0-0 draw with Melbourne victory.
Nothing this season, at all.
None. Hingett and Halloran. Abubakar pushes it back to Halloran. Shige latches onto the spillage, but it's O'Shea once again finding Hingett. Is there an end product here for Brisbane? Abubakar with the back heel. Berenguer! There's some quality! That is a strike from the Frenchman, Florent Berenguer. His second of the season. Brisbane lead in their final home match of the season.
On the Harvey Norman replay, you asked for a little bit of quality and you got it. The ball into Abubakar was the perfectly weighted one from Jay O'Shea, and it was the Frenchman, Berenguer, right in front of goal on that left foot, and he just had to keep his composure, hitting it low and hard and keeping his knee over the ball. It was a fantastic finish into the bottom corner. Brisbane Roar, they wanted the lead, they've got the lead.
Magnifique from Florent Berenguer. And there's another one from outside the box this season. They've been the specialists. They're at the opposite end of the table to Auckland. They're right up the top when it comes to that statistic. And just before the hour mark, it's the Roar who draw first blood. Can they get a first clean sheet in a year, Eric, and get a win here? It would mean they finish the season with 3 unbeaten at home. Or is that too much to ask? Wellington fans will certainly be keen for the match to go in a very different direction. There's a yellow card being brandished.
Yeah, Alex Rufer there. Nothing worse when you just conceded a goal than going and taking somebody down and giving the opposition a little bit more time just to consider their options. Being in front now, their tails up. Giancarlo Italiano having a little rethink, I'm sure, about what he can strategise into this side. Can they go and get a response? They haven't really looked likely of getting forward in this second half at all.
Well, Oluwayemi's been good today, but not quite good enough to stop that powerful drive from Berenguer. 2 in his last 3. And he grab another here. Here's the set piece from O'Shea. Confidence now flowing for Brisbane.
Yeah, that's good to see. Lucas Harrington getting himself up there. He should be in these positions, and that's part of his game he'll get better at as he gets older. Arriving, and it's just about the direction now. Jay O'Shea's been putting him some really good balls into the box, and if you remember that goal there, he played that pass into Abubakar. It was key in that as well.
So as it stands currently, you can see those bottom 4. So Wellington are the only team in the bottom 4 that can move away from the Australia Cup playoffs. They would have to win their final 2, but as it stands currently, this current result would mean they will be into the playoffs and they will have a trip to Darwin in May. Abubakar is peeling wide. The angle is narrow. Can he open it up here with some footwork? Berenguer! And now it's Halloran. It was a really awkward spot for Ben Halloran. He tried to do the best he could, but again, that combination of Abubakar, Berenguer, causing headaches.
How on earth did he find that little opportunity for Berenguer? Just a little bit of footwork, a little body feint here or there, and he's got this Wellington Phoenix defence on toast at the moment.
But I just feel like this is the moment where Wellington are going to be most dangerous, because Brisbane are going to be confident. Maybe they're going to push forward a little further. And you just sense that that's exactly what Wellington will love. An opportunity to exploit them as Wooden goes back to his keeper.
But is that it, though? Is that all that they have, is that ball over the top for Barbarousas? That's the question I think needs to be asked from probably the wash-up of the whole season. Having that ball over the top for Barbarousas is not enough to try and trouble a backline over the course of 90 minutes. It's not.
Moore. Klein deserves a goal. Flashes away. He gets the arms outstretched from Abubakar. And then a high five. So a bit of bad cop, good cop there from Isuzu Abubakar to the young midfielder. And no surprises here. Wellington down a goal. And the changes have been rung here. So Nathan Walker is coming onto the field for his 22nd appearance of the season. 18 of those off the bench. The captain is withdrawn. Rufer comes off. Sheridan also comes off the field for Wellington. Brisbane are also going to make a flurry of changes. So Keegan Jelicic, Jacob Brissett. These are some great players to bring on for Ruben Zankovic off the bench. Got some depth at their disposal at the back end of the season.
Yeah, it's a really good change. Just shows a bit of attacking intent, and also probably with that last opportunity, Ben, that Sam Klein misses in front of goal. They're the ones that maybe Brisbane haven't had the rub of the green this year. They go and score the second goal. It's almost curtains for Wellington Phoenix getting more than one goal to come back into it.
So Luke Brooks-Smith, another talented youngster this season. 16 years of age, youngest Wellington Phoenix debutant. And the youngest Wellington Phoenix goal scorer. So Walker, it's well in by him, keeping it inside the line. Now it spills to the teenager. Brooke Smith. Well, how about that? Oh, the substitutions from Wellington Phoenix very nearly came up trumps. Nathan Walker denied.
That was fantastic movement. It's exactly what the game needed, exactly what Wellington Phoenix needed, something different other than just having Costa Barbarouses outmarked by two of Brisbane Roar's central defenders. Have added a different dimension already, having an extra player in the final third.
Scored once this season against Western United, did Nathan Walker. Comes on for a Shiget. Just confirming those changes. So Brooke Smith on for Sheridan. Brissett also into the game. Klein, another chance potentially here for Sam Klein. And this time it's Brooke Smith. Gee, he has added some impact off the bench in just a matter of moments. So Rattray replacing Rufer in the heart of midfield. Rufer going into the book for a yellow card. Brissett. We get a second bite at the cherry here. Down he goes. Abubakar. O'Shea. Just dallied a little too long. And then earned it back straight away off Rattray. O'Shea! For a moment it looked as though it was dipping, and then it just kept rising over Oluwayemi's goal.
Well, there's been a few chances. That ball from Brooke Smith right into the substitute as well. Matty Acton getting down to save well on Walker. And then there's a little bit of energy on the other end from Brisbane Roar, winning the ball back in midfield, and O'Shea unleashing. But look at that, 24 shots to the 3. There's only one team trying to score today.
Can you believe that? 24 shots. That even surprises me. I would have said maybe 18.
That's crazy. But that's, you know, from the team that's got the second least amount of shots against the team with the least amount of shots.
And Wellington, here's a chance for them to get this back level. Piper! And Acton into the action again at the near post to smother for Brisbane in his 50th A-League match. May have more to do here. Brooke Smith. And its ability with the clearance. Some big moments from Acton.
Oh, some heroics there. It was across the line, getting in behind the defence, and Jack Hingett can't clear it away. And Matty Acton is all action at the near post. It's a big, big save in the context. He had to stand tall and stand firm. It's a big moment.
Ruben Zadkovic is pacing the sideline. He's gone into the book for a yellow card. Long throw from Piper. Errington's header away. Helped away by Jelicic. Well, do not go anywhere, because this match, it took a while to come to the boil. It is rising here. And it is entertainment plus. The last 10 minutes, you just cannot take your eyes off it. It's funny what a goal does.
Absolutely spot on. It's injected a little bit of pace, a bit of enthusiasm, and a little bit more stress for the away side, a bit more urgency needed to try and have a response.
Walker. These youngsters from Wellington, they're only going to be better for this experience this season. A lot of them getting 19, 20, 22 matches for Nathan Walker under his belt. You can see that confidence they've come with off the bench, just turning the momentum for Wellington. 2 of the last 4 shots in this game, and when you consider they only had 1 shot in the game before they came on. Brisbane have got a real battle on their hands for that first clean sheet of the campaign. Berenguer. Eventually stopped by Payne. Walker off the Gilroy. It opens up here again for Wellington. Barbarouses, 10 goals already this season. And Barbarouses, so close to that top corner.
That's beautiful play. Paulo Rattray just releasing Costa Barbarouses, who'd been looking for that angle all night to get a little bit of space, a bit of breathing room to run at Brisbane's back 4. It was not far away from the man who started every game for Giancarlo Italiano.
Instructions from Ruben Zadkovic. Boubacar and O'Shea. Just feel like there is a goal coming any minute here. Who will be next to score it though? Can Brisbane make it a 2-goal buffer, or can Wellington get it back to 1-1? Klein, Jelicic, and Boubacar arriving at the back post. Did it take Wellington on the way through? No, it didn't. So just the goal kick.
Yeah, it's come off his shin there. Very difficult to get the knee up over the ball. There's that win probability. Brisbane Roar firmly in the driver's seat now, but can they be a bit more professional than they have been, particularly after the 60th minute in games this year? That's where they have capitulated. Wellington Phoenix know that all too well.
Strong again from Piper. They need more to follow his lead. Wellington, Corbin, Piper. So we're just speaking earlier, and he's a player that has very much flown under the radar in his A-League career in the Brisbane. Goalkeeper this afternoon, Matt Acton, 50th A-League match this afternoon. His last clean sheet, August 2020, a 4-0 win for victory against Perth Glory in the COVID catch-up at the back end of that season.
Some 38 games ago.
It's a long, long time ago. 15th season in the A-League. 50th A-League men's match for that man, and he's been part of 2 grand final winning sides, 2014 at Brisbane, and he was also on the bench 2018, and that one is a painful one to remember, Eric, the 1-0 victory for Melbourne victory against the Jets. So he has had a career, and this would be a big moment here if he can help Brisbane to a clean sheet. Victory in their final home game of this season. Oh, Oluwayemi, that was shades of round 3 against Auckland. Remember that moment where they were 0-0 in the New Zealand derby and basically conceded in stoppage time in that kind of fashion. Barbarouses, though, at the other end. Payne driving across the face of goal. And you know what? After that passage of play off the back of the scary moment, you could say they were vindicated from playing out from the back.
Well, it was a perfect ball across from Payne. Barbarouses at full speed, so dangerous. Anyone watching at home, and you've got space to move into, go at pace. And Barbarouses still has it in the legs on this tricky, heavy surface tonight to cause problems. And for Brisbane Roar, they kept backing off and backing off. And that's the worrying sign for them.
Well, it's quite funny because Giancarlo Italiano did mention that after that match there was a little bit of fear in the team playing out from the back, and obviously in that little situation there, no worry at all about going back to Oluwayemi inside his 6-yard box. It was nerve-jangling stuff from a Wellington perspective. Very nearly resulted in a goal at the other end of the park. Brissett slips in between a couple and then ran into Rattray.
You can see what he's trying to do there. Got to give him credit for finding the opening and trying to get through 2 defenders. That's what we pay our money to see. Players like that that take others on and trying to impact them in the final third. Just didn't get the final touch to get himself in the box.
Don't forget, 5 p.m. It's going to be a big house, a packed house at Newcastle, because Western Sydney are bringing train loads, bus loads of supporters up to Newcastle, live on Paramount Plus. 5 p.m. as Harrington. Well, it's not going to matter in the end. It's going to be an offside call against Wellington. Now, I just wonder, is Matt Acton just saying, mate, just, gee, it's tight. I want to know what Matt Acton was saying to Harrington there, because that's twice there's been sort of a scuffed clearance that could have gone anywhere.
He's got a long leg, and I think when you're facing the goalkeeper, you've got to be sure. And luckily for him, it's hit his shin 2 or 3 occasions, but it's just his positioning that I've been really impressed with. You can get those wrong, you know, any day of the week, but it's his positioning and understanding that he's got to be there, last line of defence to help his goalkeeper out.
Sutton, that was a key moment to inject himself. In the end, it hasn't worked out for Wellington. Gilroy and Berenguer, the goal scorer for the second time in 3 matches for Brisbane. Brissett. And he couldn't quite squeeze that under. 2 and 3 Wellington players who are converging on him. Klein. He's won it back for Brisbane. Brissett peeling off. He left it behind though. O'Shea. Jelicic, well, he's just passed it to the goalkeeper. It is a challenging, we have touched on this, the pitch is quite challenging to try and have a shot with the ball bobbling at your feet.
How many times have Brisbane Roar won the ball back in Wellington Phoenix's defensive third, if you like? They're just giving them options and opportunities to pick their pockets and then pass to people like Brissett and put themselves under a bit of pressure. They haven't got much time to go and get this equaliser.
No surprises there, that statistic. Brisbane dominating touches in the opposition box, but it's the modus operandi of Wellington this season. It doesn't make them any less dangerous. Maybe more so, as we touched on earlier, the most efficient side at converting big chances. Can they create a big chance in the final 13 plus stoppage time? Jelicic, he just glides forward, doesn't he? So efficient. Abubakar. It was a crowd goal. It rattled the outside of the net, maybe hit the post as well. It's going to be a corner.
Yeah, definitely took a little piece there. Somebody, possibly Josh Oluwayemi, got down to his near post and just fingertipped this one around the corner. But again, creating that little space for himself. And everybody knows what he's going to do. He just does it at a higher frequency than everybody else is expecting.
Jelicic off the bench, can deliver a set piece, but just not got the radar locked on.
Boys, just keep your bibs on, boys. Just hold it onto it in front of you. That's it. Thanks.
So Wellington are going to their bench. Kazuki Nagasawa approaching the 4th official. He's about to come onto the field, getting his final instructions from Adam Griffiths, the Wellington Phoenix assistant. Brooke Smith linking with Barbarouses, kept it moving for Payne, and he strikes it into the breadbasket of Matty Acton.
Work down.
Acton looking to release Jelicic quickly. Wellington dropping back, as has been the case for them this afternoon and this season. Just happy to allow Brisbane this space. Now Berenguer, well, he's worked his way out of a cul-de-sac there. That was Houdini-like, and then Kelly Hill with the arm over the shoulder.
It's been good tonight. Berenguer getting himself into one-on-one tussles and finding a way out, just using all that experience and just the footwork and the touches to get past people at the right times. It's good to see a player with confidence at this stage of the season, no matter what the circumstances, always opportunities to go and score goals.
So Kelly Heald into the book, and Kelly Heald immediately off the park. Substitution was already locked in though. For Nagasawa to come on in that holding midfield role. Ilicic and Klein. O'Shea waiting for a couple of Wellington players to approach and then trying to squeeze in between them. Couldn't outwit them though.
Yeah, it's crunch time now. Final 10 minutes, especially for the Raw. Can they be professional enough and see a game out? They don't really need to go and add another goal, but it's been that pressure that has not allowed Wellington Phoenix to find an easy pass, an easy avenue towards goal. It's in these moments where they've got to continue to put pressure.
Rattray. So there's a bit of fatigue creeping in here for Brisbane. Wellington able to pick their way through. That final ball overhit in the vicinity of Walker. And O'Shea doing likewise at the other end. So, Eric, it just gives us a moment to ponder. Brisbane going to bring on Adam Zimmerino for Florent Berenguer, the goal scorer. Maybe the final time Brisbane Roar fans will see him here at Suncorp. He's not signed beyond this season. But Eric, 3 matches unbeaten for Brisbane. They're finishing the season off strong. What does that mean for Ruben Zadkovic?
Well, it certainly changes the flavour in the mouth, doesn't it? And I think, you know, if things have already been set in motion for next season, you wouldn't know by Ruben Zadkovic's reaction or the way he's handled himself the last couple of weeks. And he's always talked about next season. He's always talked about the youngsters coming through, how it's great to see them getting opportunity. And if he does leave, that'll be some sort of his, I guess his legacy leaving here, is that he's brought in a few players like Harrington. He's helped Waddingham secure a move to Europe. And if he goes and wins against the Mariners on Friday night, I think some of these conversations could be in a different vein, 100%.
And when you look at results this season, they're matches where they have been thumped, few and far between. Always been there and thereabouts, a goal or two. It's really been in those key moments, finishing off chances. And they've had matches where they have created quite a few, especially in the first half of the season. The back end of the season, they have been able to pick up more points. O'Shea with some step overs. Brissett is dying at the near post into Oluwayemi.
30 shots now. That's an incredible number. Brissett getting for the substitute, finding space again. Wellington continue to play out because they believe that they will find another piece in that little pocket in the semicircle right there.
30 shots on target. By no way I should say, are they out of the woods. Brisbane Roar. Seeing what Wellington can muster. Can they go to the well once again? Not on this occasion. Boubacar. Here's Sutton. Zimmerino, he's just come onto the field and he wants to get involved in a little bit of a push and shove with Sam Sutton, and the players come from everywhere. Not quite sure that was warranted.
Yeah, a bit of a rush of blood. He's asking that the studs were raised there, and they were. Maybe the referee's having another look at this one. Looks as though those studs were certainly raised from Sutton going in. You cannot tackle like that. You cannot go in with force, straight on, studs up. That is dangerous. And the afters, probably warranted in the end.
Well, it's a yellow card for Sutton. It was low down. It wasn't high up on the ankle / shin, so maybe that will save him. Or do you feel like Sam Kelly, the VAR, will say to Ben Abraham, come and have another look?
It's all about intent these days, and the contact may not have been significant enough to injure Abubakar. But if he's not smart enough to move out of that way of the challenge, Tim Marino going into the book as well for the afters. So a little bit of spice that maybe Brisbane Roar didn't need going in. There's certainly contact there. Maybe a little check from the VAR.
I just feel like the height there would have saved Sutton. That's my thoughts initially. But you never know. You never know. Give the referee an opportunity. So final 5 minutes of regulation time. Brisbane Roar have not kept a clean sheet since the 20th of April last year. And they're going to try and continue to attack here, because they've got Nathan Amanatidis, mid-season recruit from Sydney FC. And he is going to replace Asuma Abubakar. Interesting move, but you sense one that is down to a little bit of fatigue in the legs, because Brisbane, of course, played on Tuesday against Adelaide and then on Thursday last week against Western United. So it's been a jam-packed schedule for the Roar.
Smiles all round. Didn't get the goal tonight, but he certainly played a huge hand in Berenguer's finish. That little cheeky, beautiful touch around the corner. Just his all-round hold-up play. Different dimension. You can see the confidence it gives the rest of the side to be able to go and play, knowing they've got a goal scorer.
So Olawayemi leading the Paramount Plus player index alongside Jay O'Shea. It's a dead heat. Abubakar there in third, and the goal scorer Berenguer and Klein rounding up the top 5. So Ruben Zadkovic, he's spoken about the young brigade that he's built at Brisbane Roar this season. Well, majority of them are out on the park. You've got some experienced men. You've got Acton, O'Shea, Hingett. But for the most part, this is the young brigade of Brisbane Roar. Can they hold on at the back end and take another step away from the wooden spoon?
It's a great story if it can occur. And I think maybe at the end of the season you expect to pick up some results if you're given an opportunity, but it's, you know, been too far and few between in terms of getting definitely clean sheets, but results and performances. And although it's 1-0 in this game, it hasn't been an easy one. On the surface, Wellington sitting in, the amount of shots that they've had on target has been astonishing. But maybe if they can hang on for this clean sheet, and then they go and have a result against the Mariners on Friday, gives these guys something to cheer about once again.
Certainly a real chance of happening, isn't it? Mariners struggling towards the back end of the season. Have the bye this week, the Central Coast. 2-2 draw with MacArthur last Sunday. So Ruben Zadkovic in his first full season in charge of the Roar, to finish with an undefeated run at the back end of this season.
It's been disappointing, I think, from the Phoenix's point of view. Just in moments where they could have kept possession, they've really invited Brisbane Roar onto them, but Wellington Phoenix haven't had that spark to go and play football going forward, and supporting Costa Brava Roosters again.
Best chance of this second half came via a combination between Brooks Smith and Walker almost immediately after they came on. And outside of that, it's been really slim pickings in terms of opportunities for Wellington. A frustrating afternoon. Another one this season. It would be 3 straight losses for them. 3-2, 3-2 the last 2 weeks against Victory and then Adelaide. And remembering, they have not won here at Suncorp since 2017. Just 2 wins against the Roar in their history at Suncorp.
another stat to leave you with about Wellington Phoenix. They've only forced, before this game started, 79 corners, the second least in the competition. So most of the teams have forced over 100, 120 some teams. That says that you're not in the final third, going in, getting shots, getting rebounds, getting pieces. And I think, you know, Giancarlo Italiano's been the analyst at Wellington Phoenix before. He will know all too well about these stats.
O'Shea bearing down on goal, so 3 minutes of additional time. They are so close, Brisbane Roar, to a first clean sheet this season. Sam Sutton, can he have something to say about it? Harrington's clearance away to Brooks Smith. So in their 3 previous wins this year, 2-1 over Western United last week, 3-1 over Perth earlier in the season, and a 4-3 against Sydney. Haven't been able to keep a clean sheet in the matches they've drawn either. That's a bobble off the surface off red tray. Brooks Smith, gee, that's a great effort from a 16-year-old. Not giving up on it, then taking on a Manatides. Can he inspire something special here in the final minutes? Corbin Piper across goal. And Walker will not be able to stop it becoming a goal kick.
Oh, what a shame. That would have been a great ending for Wellington Phoenix. It's all about that recovery run, getting in, helping your team out when you least expect you to go and do something right there. Got himself into a great position, Brooks Smith, and then just slid that pass. It's twice now finding another entry point into the box, and the ball has to be across the ground. It's got to be into someone's feet there.
He's given it his all today, Corbin Piper. Absolutely everything. Now, just wonder, Matt Acton, was he given a yellow card there? I'm pretty sure, yep, he was. In his 50th A-League men's match. He's just seconds away from celebrating a victory. What a stalwart he's been across 15 seasons, majority as a second choice goalkeeper. And he gets to celebrate here if Brisbane can survive a few more seconds. Sutton just grabbing in a hand here, or maybe something else.
Certainly not a hand.
Off the nose of Klein. Now Harrington. And a goal kick. And Matty Acton, is he going to get the final touch here? In A-League match number 50. Couple of grand final wins for him on the bench. 2014 here at Brisbane. 2018 at Melbourne Victory. 5 clean sheets in those previous 49 matches. He well and truly deserves this. And Brisbane have done it. A first clean sheet for the Roar in more than a year. And Matt Acton in A-League match number 50 gets a clean sheet, gets a victory, and Brisbane are on their best run all season. They are undefeated in 3 matches. They've got 2 wins in their last 3, and they move a step away from that dreaded first ever wooden spoon. They are 4 points off the bottom now. And what a result that is for Ruben Zadkovic's young Chargers. Full time at Suncorp Stadium in the final match here for the Roar this season. It finishes Brisbane Roar 1, Wellington Phoenix 0. And Eric Pardelou, these fans watching Brisbane Roar have been through a lot this season, and well, they're unbeaten at home in their last 3 now.
Yeah, professional performance tonight, this afternoon, and perhaps that stirring pre-match from our Anzac heroes maybe just gave them a little bit more motivation in order to go and be together and try and close out that clean sheet. They certainly deserved to win the game. They created more chances, had more shots at goal, and they wanted it more. Wellington Phoenix just didn't have the puff today. Just ran out of gas and ideas, and that's really unsettling and worrying for this rebuild that Giancarlo Italiano is trying to build from this point on.
Yeah, a really tough afternoon for Wellington Phoenix. And we know Giancarlo Italiano, he's been extended beyond this season, so a big pre-season of recruitment and retention no doubt will be getting underway very, very soon if it hasn't gotten underway already. So Matt Acton celebrating a 6th clean sheet in the A-League. I just love that story. I know at the back end of the season when sides are missing out on finals, Eric, sometimes there are a lack of stories, but Matt Acton is certainly one, and a win and a clean sheet for him in the milestone match. So Abubakar with the 3 points in the Alex Tobin medal race, Berenguer with a couple, the goal scorer, the match winner, and Olawayemi had a lot of work to do, and he gets the 1 point. Well, let's hear from the Alex Tobin medal, the 3-point winner, the player of the match, Asuma Abubakar. Asuma, gee, another win here at home for Brisbane. You have had quite the impact. How much are you enjoying your time at the Roar?
Yeah, I've been enjoying it very well, pretty much with the loss, and whatever that we have, we still